There it is. Yeah.
I want to say something. Your position is very important. Like me, like people, like me. Okay, the Persian language is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, sorry. When I listen to your conversation class, it's a motivation for me in language area. It's very important for me. You you uh, you remember me? How is my language first time? I will in your class. You remember when I
Yes.
told uh, something? I don't. I didn't speak very well. I amazing for me. It's very hard. It was very hard for me. But I think nowadays sometimes come here patient, Persian patient from Russian, from Filipino, and I will talk and I talk every time Persian people. My graduated is high than first time. Uh, your classroom for me, for us, for learners is very important. Thank you very much.
Oh. Well, you're welcome. Well, we have to
I
thank
couldn't.
Thomas.
I cannot explain your position, but uh, one sentence very important. Your position is very important for me.
Well, thank you. I wasn't expecting that. And for me, I enjoy teaching English. I enjoy, having fun and
I know.
helping you learn and understand. And so thanks. I don't think my job is extremely important. Your job is a lot more important being a doctor. But there are a lot of people that need English, so it's important to be able to communicate. So yes, we're both important, and Chenhu is also important too. So, but thanks for that
You
compliment.
and Thomas is very important in my life, in my situation, in this room. Okay.
Wow. Well, that seems like a lot of power.
Thank you.
Well,
All
that's
my
wonderful.
patients know me. Don't come doctor's room because doctors listen in English. Some patient know me uh, learning. This area is learning area for me. My patient, some patient know doctor want to learn English. Okay, don't
Perfect.
they know me. Thank you very
Mm-hmm.
much for this.
Well, thank you for the compliment. And to start class out like that is great. So, today, well, actually, before we get into class, like I mentioned to you too, um, classes in September will be a little different. So make sure you look on the schedules and Facebook and blah, 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 etc., etc. Okay. And today, we're going to be talking about quantifiers. And quantifiers basically tell us a lot, a little, some, few, those kinds of things. So what we're going to do is first take a look at some of the important words or the main words, and then I want to look at different examples. And within those examples, I want us to be able to change from one quantifier to another and see how the phrase changes or it stays the same. Okay, so it's hot today here in Spain, and what I'm going to do is I have my fan on and some cold water here next to me. Where is my document? Quantifiers. One moment. There. Oh, there. Quantifiers. That's what I want. Okay. So you should see this. So again, so these are the ones that we're basically going to talk about. Much, little, many, few, a lot of, lots of, and plenty of. Okay. So we'll just take a look at some of the basics. And like I said, then we'll look at some examples. And I just like to talk about how they might sound the same. We can change the structure, do those kinds of things. Okay. So let's start with the basics. And for example, I think I'll read the basics and then you two can do more of the examples when we get there, okay? So much and little. Actually, this is probably very small. Whoops, whoops, whoops. So just going to make that bigger for you. That is probably better. I'm going to guess. Yeah, that looks good. So the basics with much and little. Now, the thing is when do we use these? We use much and little with uncountable nouns. What are uncountable nouns? Tinhu or Ismail, what are uncountable nouns? I don't know if he's able to answer, but Tinhu, do you know what uncountable nouns are?
Yeah, I think uncountable nouns means nouns and have many things you can't count. You don't know how many in there. Means they are means they are uncountable.
Yes, I know where you're trying to go. For example, we have much time, much luck, little energy, little money. Okay, so time, even though you can count minutes and hours, but time in general, as a general statement, time is uncountable. And if we look at the word money, the same thing. We can count coins, we can count bills, and the paper money. We can count all of that, but money in general, as a general term, is uncountable. We don't know how much money unless you tell us. Also, uncountable nouns we use for things that are liquid, for example, such as water, coffee, juice, milk, all of these. Okay, and on top of it, for example, water, rice is also uncountable. Now, you can count individual grains of rice, but we normally don't say, give me 100 grains of rice. We'll say, give me a kilo. Let's see, a kilo of rice, for example. Now it's countable because I've added that measurement, a kilo. Okay, so rice alone is uncountable. Not un. And then a kilo of rice makes it countable. Okay, so it really just depends how you want to say it. Oh, there's, I don't know, telling someone much luck. I hope you have a lot of luck. Good luck with this. Oh, I have so little energy today. I don't have any. Okay, you can't count the amount of energy we have. And so we're going to use much and little to explain a lot or a little, basically. Do you have any questions here?
No.
All right, good. So with, yeah?
Sorry. No.
Okay. Maybe if you have a question later, just let me know. So now, if we look at many and few, we're using basically the same ideas, much and little, but we're using countable nouns or plural nouns. Okay? So many friends, many people, few cars, few countries. Okay, we can count all of these. People and friends, of course, we can count them. Cars, we can count 1 car, 2 car, countries, etc. Okay, so in this case, we don't need anything to say, oh, yes, there are 3 countries in the World Cup or something like that. Countries, we know that we can count them. How many countries are there in the world? 1, 2, 3, 4, and start counting. Okay. Any questions? This is relatively simple. Once we understand what a countable and uncountable noun is, then it's a lot easier. Okay, I think uncountable nouns are confusing because, I mean, I don't know. And for example, it's different. Here in Spain, bread is countable. In English, bread is uncountable. We would have to say one, let me type this, one slice of bread or a loaf of bread, for example, in order to make it countable. Okay? So it might depend, it might be different in your language, and so you should always, ask in English if you have a question or a doubt or something like that. Okay? So we have those 4 quantifiers. The next ones I want to look at are a lot of, lots of, and plenty of. We use these 3 quantifiers to use with both countable and uncountable nouns. Okay? So we can say a lot of luck, a lot of friends, lots of time, lots of people, plenty of money, plenty of ideas. Any questions about this first? No? So one of my little tricks in English is if you're not sure if you should use much or many, you can always use a lot of, because it doesn't matter if it's countable or uncountable, because it's okay to use with this. Okay? So if you want to say, for example, friends, okay, in Spanish, actually, the word people is uncountable, I think, or at least everyone in Spain thinks that the word people in English is uncountable. How many people are in this class? 1, 2, 3. So people are countable. And so they get this one confused a lot. And so what I think you should do is just choose lots of or a lot of. And that way you don't have to worry about saying, oh, much people, many people. A lot of people have that question and that doubt. So when in doubt, a lot of is like your best friend here. Okay?
Friends, countable or uncountable?
Friends is countable.
Countable. A lot of countable?
A lot of can be used for both. These 3, a lot of, lots of, and plenty of, are used with both countable and uncountable. Oh, there. Now it's correct, right?
I saw this sentence. Yes, all right. Okay.
Now it looks good, right? Okay. Perfect. Yes, I can't believe I didn't see that before, but this is what happens. So, perfect. Yes, so luck is uncountable, friends is countable. So the first one here is, well, time, uncountable, people, countable, money, uncountable, ideas, 1 idea, 2 ideas, countable. Okay. The other way that you can decide if it's countable or uncountable is if you can add an S, depending on the word, to make it plural. Because uncountable nouns you cannot use in the plural form because you're not using 2 of something. So luck, for example, I think a lot of luck. And so if you want to say, I want to wish you many lucks, no. That doesn't work. We can't do that. But if we look at the word friend, friends, yeah, we add that S and it can be plural. That's okay. Time, lots of time, lots of times. Now, time is kind of a funny word because we can use it in a countable and uncountable way. Okay? She came to my house 3 times yesterday looking for her dog, for example. So you can count how many times something happened, but if you refer to time in general, no. So if you say time is an invention of humans, time, that's not how many times something happened, but it's the idea of time in the world, okay? And then with people, for example, 1 person, and people is the plural word. So we're not going to add an S. We're just going to change the word completely and make it more confusing. So 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, okay? money and ideas then as well. Okay, so any questions with that?
No.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Moving on. And so what I want to talk about here is plenty, because a lot of and lots of have the same meaning. Okay, it means many, basically. Okay, now there is a different structure here. We have a and then no s here, and here we don't have the a and we have the s. Okay, so this is something that it doesn't matter which one you use, they mean the exact same thing, but in this one you have the a and this one you have the s. That's the only difference. Okay, but with plenty means something a little bit different than a lot of or lots of. Plenty means more than enough, and there's plenty of sun at the moment. I actually should have some sunglasses on. It got really bright. But so we have a lot of something or plenty of, kind of not too much in like a negative way, but we have so much that there's extra. Okay, something like that. So in the example of there's no need to hurry, we have plenty of time. You don't have to go running or do anything very quickly right now. We've got an extra 30 minutes, for example. We've got plenty of time. It only takes 10 minutes to arrive. So we have extra time. Okay. How is this for you? We've seen plenty before. We have not seen plenty before. All right, so moving on. Exceptions. We always have exceptions, okay? So much. It's not usually used in positive sentences, okay? So the correct sentence here is, we didn't spend much time at the store. This is our negative. So that works. It sounds good. Okay? Just as when we say we spent much time at the store, it doesn't sound very good to me. I don't think. So it's something that you definitely want to look at, think about, listen. And if you're not sure if it sounds good because it's new information for you, then ask. Does this sound okay? Look it up online, that kind of thing. So there's always things you can do if you're not sure. So like I said, normally in positive sentences, we're not going to use much. In that case, you should use a lot of. We spent a lot of time at the store. Okay, that's my suggestion with that. Like I said, when in doubt, a lot of is your best friend. So any questions with this?
I think do I can use many in this word?
Many in this case?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we look at the word time is our key word here because time comes right after the quantifier, okay? In this case, what time are we using? Is it how many times something happened or how long something happened?
Yeah, okay.
So this word time represents how long we did something. Now, we're not specifying how long we were at the store or anything, but that it was a long time. And so this is uncountable, and when uncountable, we use much. The you is something you can use to remember that we use uncountables with much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the idea is that with the word many, for example, I'll just write many here, this A hopefully will help remind you of apples. And apples, of course, 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 apples, very easy to remember that it's countable. Okay, so this A is many for countable and then much for uncountable. So that's my little trick too. Does that help? Okay, perfect. So if I go down, yes. Much in questions. Do you see David much? I don't know why I have this here twice. And then I see David much is incorrect. I see David much. It just sounds bad to me because obviously I'm a native and I know what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. Do you see David much in the question form? But then again, this is positive. We can say I see David a lot. Again, a lot is always important here. So we have a lot, but then we also have a lot of, for example.
May I, Rebecca, sorry.
Yeah.
May I make a sentence? I don't I I don't see David much. May I use?
Of course, yeah, that sounds good because it's a negative sentence.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfect. I don't see David much. Yep. Again, in those positive sentences with much doesn't really sound good. And because of that, we have a lot of and a lot and a lot of. Does anyone know the difference between these two uses? No? Let's see. So if I, for example, replace a lot here and I say a lot of, I see David a lot of. Does this sound good or bad to you? You're not sure. It sounds okay. What do you think? Good or bad? I see David a lot of.
I think that's not correct.
Okay, good. Yes. Do you know why?
Because a lot of, I think this the follow should be have our word something. Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. So in this case, of shouldn't be here. Okay. I see David a lot. All right, I'm just going to change this back to much because that's originally what it was. So a lot normally we'll put at the end of a sentence or something like that. Okay. Whereas a lot of, what we're doing is it's always plus a noun. I have a lot of keys, for example. I was literally looking around to my living room. What do I have? I have a lot of keys, for example. Okay. And so this noun is what we need when we have a lot of something. Okay. A lot of plus a noun. Otherwise, I see David a lot or many times. You know, it represents many times. Okay. Questions?
No question.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Dun, 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 dun. What's next? Practice. Yeah. Okay. So I have some sentences here. There's enough information in all of them to help us understand which one is good for us, which answer quantifier works best for us. So, Chen-Hu, why don't you go ahead and read this first sentence, okay?
Yeah, there really aren't many cars in the center of the city.
Good. So there really aren't many car parks, is what you said, right? Many.
Yeah, many.
Why did you choose many? We're going to be very specific with this today.
I think cars is countable.
Okay. Actually, car parks is the noun here. You know what a car park is?
Park also is countable.
Exactly, a car park. What is a car park?
Means cars can stop in this place.
Okay, so a car park is where you park your car. basically. And this is British English. I would say parking lot as an American. So car parks. Yeah, that's plural. Okay. And that's it. So there really aren't many car parks. Can we say there really aren't a lot of car parks? Is that okay or not?
Yeah, okay. I think that's also right.
Yes. So again, a lot of is really works for a lot of these. Okay, especially if you don't know if it's countable, uncountable, etc. So there really aren't. What about there really aren't plenty of car parks? There really aren't plenty of car parks. Does that sound okay or not?
I think that is not 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 not
Okay.
suitable. Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know why?
I plenty always I think always use the same money and for do something
Okay.
and not for not describe something very money.
Okay. True. Well, plenty of is actually, as I said before, it represents kind of extra. You know, more than we need. When I said we have plenty of time, don't worry. So here, when we're using a negative, it's definitely not, there's not enough of something. If there's not enough of something, there's not going to be extra. Okay, so it's kind of contradicting with a negative and plenty of. Now, I'm sure there's some sentence in the world that you can say a negative with plenty of and fine, sure, it probably works. In this case, no. Okay, because there are not extra car parks. Okay? So very good. Any questions here at this one?
No.
Before we go on to the next one? Good. Ismail, do you want to read?
Yes.
All right, let's get this next sentence for you. Hold on. I'm just going to move this down a little bit more and just do this so we can focus.
Eating out can be expensive. That aren't very, very much cheap restaurants in this town.
Okay.
Very much cheap, I think.
Okay. I'm going to say it's probably many because we have cheap, which is an adjective, but that's not telling us if it's countable or uncountable. We have restaurants. Can you count restaurants and how many there are?
Restaurants, countable restaurants, countable nouns, but I think cheap restaurants, uncountable nouns.
Okay, so the adjective was making things difficult. No, it doesn't matter what is before the noun, but the noun is the most important. So, because a restaurant is countable, we can count how many restaurants there are. We're going to use many. Like I said, apples is your key word. Many apples, countable. Much is the uncountable. So here, many would work. Okay.
Cheap restaurants is relative for someone.
Cheap is the opposite of expensive. It's an adjective.
I think in Turkish meaning, expensive is different for someone. Cheap is different for someone. For me, this restaurant is cheap. For you, this restaurant very expensive. I think it's my idea, but in English, I should count.
Well, it was a good thought process, but no, we need to only focus on the noun after when we're using a quantifier. So, good. And I wanted to ask, eating out. What does eating out mean?
Eating out?
Yeah.
House eat.
Exactly. When you don't eat at your house, but you go to a restaurant to eat. Exactly. Okay. So very good, of course. Here we're not going to use plenty because there aren't very plenty of cheap restaurants. No, thank you. It sounds terrible. There aren't very many. Yeah, I mean, there aren't a lot of, in this case, doesn't work. And I think this is because we have the word cheap. There aren't very, and we have the word very. And I don't think we would ever use there are, even if this were.
Sorry, may I use there aren't very few cheap restaurants?
Clean?
Few, yes.
Sure, you can use more adjectives if you want.
Not a little, few restaurants.
There aren't very little cheap restaurants. No.
If you
No, within
little uncountable for I think little.
Right. Yeah.
You understand?
Yes, little is used with uncountable nouns. So we'd have to use few for the little side of that. So there aren't very few. In this case, we could say there are very few cheap restaurants. If this aren't were positive, sure, we could do that. But in this case, in this sentence, no. So this would have to disappear, and then we could use there are very few cheap restaurants in this town. Okay? Good. Any other questions with this sentence?
No.
Okay, good. Well, then let me just get back to this. We'll move down, and Chen, who will have you read this next sentence. Okay, whenever you're ready.
There are lots of great bars to go to in order to meet people.
Okay. There are a lot of, yeah, we can say lots of because it has the same meaning. There are plenty of, okay. So lots, we can use a lot of different things here. There are many, many of. Nope, if we use of, we can't use many or much. But we have to use many because this is countable. So there are many great bars to go to. So if we remove of, then we can use many. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good? Any questions?
No.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, so Ismail, let's have you read this next one, okay?
Yes, okay. Hurry up. We only have time. We only have a little time before the actor leaves, and I want an autograph. We only have a little time.
Okay, a little time sounds good to me. Chenhu, would you have used anything else?
I think use much.
No.
Because the time's not S.
Because hurry up is very important sentence. Hurry up. I don't have time. I don't have much time. Okay. We only have a little time.
Perfect. Great explanation. You're right with this, Ismail. So hurry up means, come on, we need to go. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Yeah. We only have a little time. And again, we have to use little because time in this case is talking about time in general. And so we have to use something that is with uncountable nouns. Okay? So we only have a little time before the actor leaves, and I want an autograph. Of course, we can't use because only here is representing little. There's short. We only. Yeah. There's not extra when we use only. We only have a couple minutes. If I were to change this to minutes, a couple minutes, a few minutes, something like that where it represents a little, but it depends on the noun and if it's countable or uncountable. Okay? Good? Okay. So we'll move on. So Chenhu, do you want to read this next one?
I saw a plenty of beautiful scene, scenery when we were in the Germany last year.
Okay. So we saw beautiful scenery. So scenery is our noun here. Is scenery countable or uncountable?
We saw many views, much. So
This word is uncountable. Beautiful scenery. Scenery is what things look like if you go and see a play in the background, the scenery, okay? We can talk about individual objects and then it would be countable. Yeah?
beautiful, I think.
What?
Yeah, much, I think.
So much
Much,
beautiful scenery.
much beautiful scenery.
Well, with much we normally don't use with a sentence when the verb is in the positive.
Uh, a a little bit.
We said a little bit. A little is used
A little.
for countables. I'm sorry, uncountables. We saw a little beautiful scenery. Sure, maybe it was raining a lot. We could also say we saw plenty of beautiful scenery. Plenty of. We saw a lot of beautiful scenery.
Yeah,
So those that that we can use with both countable and uncountable nouns would work really well here. We saw a little beautiful scenery also works if you want to say the opposite of, maybe Germany wasn't as beautiful as you thought it was going to be or something like that, but that's perfect. Okay. Any other questions with this one?
no, no.
No,
Okay. Perfect. So, Ismail, it's going to be your turn to read this sentence for us.
There are blah, blah, shops near the football stadium that I want to go to. There are a few shops. There are many shops. There are many shops. A few shops near the football stadium that I want to go to. Yes, a few shops. This, I think it would be. There are a few shops.
few.
This
All right. Okay. There's some
this
doubts, I think.
a few shops. It's correct, but all sentence is not negative. Uh, uh, the sentence gives a negative meaning. I think there are a few shops near the football stadium that I want to go. Yes, a few. I think a few shops. Also,
Okay.
okay.
All right, Tinhu, what do you think before I give you the answer?
Few shops. I think that's right. Yeah, I
There are a
agree
few
with
shops.
that. There
Okay,
are
yep,
a few shops.
exactly. Shops is countable. And so we use few, just like I would say few, one, two, three. There's three letters in the word few, so it's very easy to count. Okay, so there are a few, there are a lot of. Yeah, I've put this A here to kind of give you the idea that you have to only choose a couple options here. That there's only a couple options here. We could say there are many shops. If we remove this A, there are many shops. There are plenty of. There are a lot of shops. So it depends. We can say it in many different ways. But with that A there, we're a little bit more limited. Okay, a lot or a few in this case. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
All right. So things are getting a little easier, right? Let's hope so.
Mhm.
All right. So Chenhu, it's your turn, right, to read?
It's very quiet. They aren't lot of people here today. Uh, Probably because it's raining.
Okay. There aren't a lot of people. That sounds good. There aren't lots of people. There aren't anything else. Do we have any other options here?
I think this is lot of people. Lot of people. Lots of people.
Yeah, we can use a lot of or lots of, plenty of. There aren't. No, again, plenty doesn't work because aren't is negative. Ismail, what do you think is a good option for this sentence?
There aren't much people. There aren't much people. Much, much is possible, I think.
Okay, people is count. The word people is countable. So then we'd have to use
Uncountable people.
people. You get how many people are in this class, Ismail?
Yeah, you are right. Yeah.
That tends to happen. That I'm right. so,
Yes.
so here we're gonna say people aren't. I'm sorry, there aren't many people. Again, many we use for countable, just like apples are countable. Okay. So we could use that as well. So we do have a couple options. There aren't few. No, that doesn't work.
At least sometimes people countable, uncountable. People singular or plural.
People is always, people are countable because we can count how many people there are.
Yes, you are right. Yes, yes, you are right. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so you said enough. Okay, it's very quiet. There aren't enough people here today. That would work. There aren't enough people here today. That's fine. But today we were not exactly focusing on enough, but that's okay. If I go to the top here, these are the ones that we had focused on and we looked at first, but that's great. I mean, there's so many different options and so many different ways to say one thing in English, okay? And so we're focusing on these words today because these are the most common and a little bit confusing. So here I'm just going to go down very quickly so you can kind of see again what we had looked at, okay? And of course these exceptions. And then, oh, now we're doing the practice. And if I move this, I'm just going to leave it here. And we will eventually get to where we stopped. Okay, here we go. This is it. So yes, we have plenty of options to use here, okay? And even if we change this to positive, there are many people here today. There are a lot of, there are lots of, there are plenty of. So, but just by changing the verb to a positive, there's other options that we can use too, okay?
Yeah, I can see.
See, and so that's, like I said, that's just changing the verb. If we change it around the sentence or we want it to mean something else, of course we can say lots of other things. So that's very good. Right now, I want to look at this, and this is our last example. Ismail, I think it's your turn to read because it's very quiet. Okay. Yeah, Ismail, could you read the sentence for us?
Yes, yes. There are expensive class next week beef. I would go to buy one. There are there are there are flats.
What are flats?
Many expensive flats. There are there are there are a little.
No, you're good.
May I use many? May I use many? There are
Many, yeah, flats. What are flats?
many expensive flats. There are many expensive flats.
Exactly. Flat is a synonym to the word apartment. Flat is more British English, an apartment. So it's countable. That's the first thing. And so we can say there are many expensive flats. There are.
This affirmative or negative sentence. Many or may I use or not use?
There aren't many.
Use, I think.
Yes, you can. There aren't many expensive flats next to the beach.
There are many expensive flats.
Exactly. See, very good. More options of saying things. So again, just by changing that verb, more options.
Sorry, if there aren't blah 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 expensive flats, what we use?
If there aren't many, if there aren't a lot of, or lots of.
It's negative sentence. I think.
Yes, yeah, you can use many in negative sentences, absolutely. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, there are a lot of, there are lots of, there are plenty of expensive flats. Okay. So there's so many different options we can use here. It just depends on what you want to say. And with many and a lot of or lots of, you're saying there's sufficient, enough. But then when you say plenty of, then you're adding even more emphasis. Okay. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. So any questions or any other comments? Chen-Hu, did you want to say what you think would work here?
No, I think right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, very good. So that's basically it. So do you have any other questions about these words that we've looked at? So we'll go back to the top and any other questions? I mean, we can use these in other cases too. There's a big difference between, well, big difference. There is a difference between little and a little, or few and a few. But that's a lot more complicated. That's a whole nother class day. Maybe I should do that one time because I know I have a presentation. I'm going to write that down very quickly. A few, a little, and see if we can talk about that. But yeah. Chen-Hu, did you want to say something?
No, I think a lot of and lots of, they are always same.
Exactly. These are the same. It's just you need the A in one or the S in the other. But apart from that, they're exactly the same. And not one is more American or British or whatever. It just really is what comes out of your mouth. A lot of is 3 syllables. Lots of is 2 syllables. So maybe if you're talking or using a lot of different words, you might use lots of because it's shorter and the idea is still there. We understand that there's many or much.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have any questions, I mean, really a lot of and lots of are the ones to always go to. Even if it's not correct and you know it's not correct, but you want to express that there's a lot of something or many or much of something, I would say a lot of, because at least we understand. Yes, Chen-Hu?
Yeah. I think a lot of more euro. Yeah, and because the lot of read, I feel read very Florence. Yeah, lot of, I think something for someone, they can write read right because lot and lots very very thin.
Exactly, very similar. Yes,
Yeah.
so exactly, that's why I was emphasizing a lot of or lots of, so you can kind of hear the difference. But yes, they're really good for, in general, saying many of something. Okay. All right. Well, with that, we are about finished for today. So I'm just going to pop in here for a second, say hello, and almost goodbye. Because on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about more business idioms. So phrases that we have related to business. So it should be pretty interesting. The phrases are used in life in general as well, just focused on kind of business things, okay? Business topics, things like that. All right. So that's Wednesday, in 1 hour from now in your time zone. So, yeah. So, any other questions for today?
No, very thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for participating today. Thanks all of you for joining, and hopefully we will see you on Wednesday. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Happy Monday, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.